In the quiet suburban neighborhood of Maplewood Heights, life had always been predictable, until one seemingly mundane HOA fine turned into a jaw-dropping revelation. For years, Sarah Bennett had lived peacefully in her cozy home, adhering to the Homeowners Association HOA rules with minimal fuss. But everything changed one crisp autumn morning when she received a formal notice from the HOA president, Karen Hargrove, fining her $500 for leaving her garage door open overnight, a violation of the community's aesthetic and safety guidelines. Sarah was baffled. She rarely left her garage door open, let alone overnight. Yet, according to Karen, a neighbor had reported seeing the door ajar at 2 a.m., prompting an inspection by the HOA's self-appointed compliance committee. Karen's letter included a grainy photo taken from the street, showing a faint outline of something inside the garage, but was too dark to make out any details. What struck Sarah as odd was the tone of the letter, which seemed less about enforcing rules and more about gloating over catching her in a supposed infraction. Determined to clear her name, Sarah reviewed her security camera footage from the night in question. To her surprise, the footage revealed that her garage door had indeed been left open, but not by her. At 1:45 a.m., a shadowy figure could be seen tamper with the door's keypad, forcing it open before slipping inside. Alarmed, Sarah immediately contacted the police, who launched an investigation into the break-in. But what truly shocked everyone came next. When officers arrived to inspect the scene, they discovered that Sarah's garage wasn't just a storage space. It was a fully operational workshop housing prototypes for a groundbreaking invention, a compact, solar-powered water filtration system designed to provide clean drinking water to underserved communities worldwide. The project, which Sarah had been working on in secret for years, was still in its testing phase, but its potential impact was undeniable. Word of the discovery spread quickly through Maplewood Heights, leaving residents speechless. Far from being a rule-breaking nuisance, Sarah was actually a visionary innovator whose work could change lives. Karen, however, refused to back down, insisting the fine remain in place because the garage door had technically been left open. Her stubbornness only fueled public outrage, turning what should have been a minor infraction into a national conversation about privacy, innovation, and the absurdity of overzealous HOA regulations. For Sarah, the incident was both infuriating and surreal. On one hand, she was relieved that her invention hadn't been stolen or damaged during the break-in. On the other, she resented the invasion of her privacy and the audacity of the HOA to penalize her for something entirely beyond her control. With mounting support from neighbors and media outlets alike, Sarah decided to fight back, not just to overturn the fine, but to expose the pettiness of Karen's leadership and reclaim her right to pursue her dreams without interference. The revelation of Sarah Bennett's groundbreaking invention sent shockwaves through Maplewood Heights and far beyond. What had started as a petty HOA fine quickly escalated into a national story, with reporters and camera crews flocking to the quiet suburb to catch a glimpse of the woman behind the solar-powered water filtration system. Overnight, Sarah went from being a relatively unknown neighbor to a symbol of innovation and resilience. Karen Hargrove, however, remained unyielding in her stance. Despite the overwhelming public support for Sarah, she doubled down on the fine, insisting that rules were rules and exceptions couldn't be made, even for someone whose garage housed life-changing technology. "This isn't about what's inside the garage," Karen declared during an impromptu press conference outside the HOA office. "It's about maintaining order and safety within our community." Her words, intended to project authority, only deepened the divide between her and the residents she claimed to represent. Meanwhile, Sarah seized the opportunity to share her story with the world. During interviews with major news outlets, she explained how her invention worked, a compact device capable of purifying contaminated water using solar energy, making it ideal for remote or disaster-stricken areas. She also spoke candidly about the challenges she faced as a female inventor, including skepticism from investors and the constant struggle to balance her work with everyday life. Her humility and passion resonated deeply with viewers, turning her into an overnight sensation. The tide turned decisively when a local tech entrepreneur named Marcus Lane stepped forward to champion Sarah's cause. A prominent figure in the renewable energy sector, Marcus offered not only financial backing for Sarah's project, but also legal assistance to challenge the HOA's decision. What Karen and the HOA have done here is nothing short of absurd. Marcus said during a televised interview, "Instead of stifling creativity, we should be celebrating innovators like Sarah who are working to solve real-world problems." With Marcus's help, Sarah filed a formal appeal against the fine, arguing that the HOA's actions violated her rights to privacy and free enterprise. The case garnered widespread attention, sparking debates about the role of homeowners associations in regulating personal property. Legal experts weighed in, pointing out that while HOAs could enforce aesthetic guidelines, they couldn't penalize residents for circumstances beyond their control, such as a break-in. Public opinion overwhelmingly sided with Sarah, with petitions calling for Karen's resignation gaining thousands of signatures. Karen's attempts to defend herself grew increasingly desperate. She accused Sarah of orchestrating the entire incident as a publicity stunt, a claim that fell flat given the security footage proving otherwise. When pressed by reporters, Karen struggled to justify why the HOA had prioritized finding Sarah over addressing the actual crime of the break-in. Her credibility crumbled further when whistleblowers within the HOA revealed that similar fines had been issued arbitrarily in the past, often targeting minority families or those who dare question the board's decisions. As the legal battle unfolded, Sarah continued refining her invention, determined not to let the controversy derail her progress. With Marcus's funding, she was able to accelerate production and begin pilot programs in underserved regions around the globe. News of successful deployments poured in, from rural villages in Africa gaining access to clean water for the first time to disaster relief efforts benefiting from portable filtration units. Each success story added fuel to the growing movement supporting Sarah and condemning Karen's leadership. By the time the court issued its ruling, there was little doubt about the outcome. The judge dismissed the fine entirely, ruling that the HOA had acted unlawfully and unfairly. In a scathing rebuke, the judge criticized Karen's disproportionate focus on trivial matters at the expense of meaningful community engagement. Furthermore, the ruling mandated reforms within the HOA, including greater transparency and accountability measures to prevent future abuses of power. For Karen, the verdict marked the beginning of the end. Facing mounting pressure from residents and regulators alike, she resigned as HOA president in disgrace. Her departure signaled a new era for Maplewood Heights, one defined by collaboration rather than control. With Karen Hargrove's resignation and the HOA scandal fully resolved, Maplewood Heights entered a transformative phase, one defined by unity, innovation, and renewed purpose. The community that had once been divided by rigid rules and petty grievances now stood united, inspired by Sarah Bennett's courage and vision. At the heart of this transformation was not just her groundbreaking invention, but also the lessons learned from confronting the absurdity of overzealous governance. Sarah's journey from fine homeowner to celebrated inventor became a catalyst for change within the neighborhood. Residents who had previously felt stifled by the HOA's draconian policies began speaking out, demanding reforms that prioritize creativity, inclusivity, and progress. Under the guidance of a newly elected HOA board, comprised of diverse voices committed to ethical leadership, the community implemented policies designed to foster innovation rather than suppress it. For example, homeowners were now encouraged to use their properties for projects benefiting the greater good, provided they adhered to basic safety standards. This shift in mindset opened doors for other residents to pursue passions they had long kept hidden behind closed garage doors. The ripple effects extended far beyond Maplewood Heights. Sarah's solar-powered water filtration system gained international acclaim, earning awards and partnerships with global organizations dedicated to solving the world's clean water crisis. Her success inspired countless others to pursue their own dreams, regardless of obstacles. Local schools invited her to speak at career days, where she shared stories of perseverance and encouraged students to think big. "If I can turn a fine into an opportunity," she often said with a smile, "then imagine what you can do." Meanwhile, the HOA underwent a complete overhaul. Transparency became its cornerstone, with monthly meetings streamed live online and financial records made publicly accessible. A new committee, aptly named the Innovation Task Force, was established to review proposals for unconventional projects like Sarah's, ensuring they received support rather than scrutiny. These changes weren't just about avoiding future scandals. They were about creating a culture where everyone felt empowered to contribute. Perhaps most remarkably, Sarah's story sparked a broader conversation about the role of communities in nurturing talent and ambition. Advocacy groups formed nationwide, pushing for legislation to protect homeowners' rights while encouraging sustainable development. Lawmakers took notice, introducing bills aimed at curbing HOA overreach and promoting grassroots innovation. What had started as a single act of defiance blossomed into a movement, an enduring legacy of Sarah's determination to rise above adversity. For Sarah herself, the journey was both humbling and exhilarating. Yes, the fight against the HOA had been exhausting, filled with moments of doubt and frustration. But through perseverance, she had not only reclaimed her dignity, but also inspired others to dream bigger and bolder. As she addressed a packed town hall meeting following the court ruling, flanked by supportive neighbors, she emphasized that the victory wasn't hers alone. It belonged to everyone who believed in the power of ideas to transform lives. As the community celebrated its progress, small acts of kindness and cooperation began to define daily life in Maplewood Heights. Neighbors who had once avoided each other now exchanged greetings over backyard fences. Children played freely in newly renovated parks, their laughter echoing through tree-lined streets. And at the center of it all stood Sarah's garage, a modest yet powerful symbol of resilience, unity, and the triumph of ordinary people standing up to extraordinary pettiness. Reflecting on everything that had transpired, Sarah felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Yes, the road had been long and fraught with challenges, but through adversity, she discovered strength, not just in herself but in the resilience of those around her. Reclaiming her garage wasn't just about saving space. It was about restoring harmony, bridging divides, and proving that even the messiest mistakes could lead to beautiful transformations. As she stood beside her workbench one crisp autumn evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Sarah smiled softly. The battle may have ended, but the story was far from over. Together, they had embarked on a new chapter, one rooted in hope, harmony, and the unshakable belief that home is more than walls and roofs. It's a place where hearts find belonging and dreams take flight.